Hey there, welcome back to the BOM Process course. We're still in Module 2. And here in Lesson 2 in this module, we're going to talk about the importance of focus and why focus matters. And it's an important discussion for us to have because I think entrepreneurs and people building businesses in the online space, we actually have the opposite problem that a lot of people have. So a lot of people have trouble getting started. So they don't actually get into action. So their biggest obstacle is doing anything. With most online business owners that I know, the problem is instead that they're doing too many things. They have too many irons in the fire. They are trying to do all the things rather than focusing on the things that matter. So I'm going to start by kind of explaining in this lesson why you need to focus. And then in the future ones, we're going to talk about how do you figure out what you should be focused on. So the way I want to start this lesson is with a very visual example, which is I grew up in South Texas where it was very, very hot. In the summers, we would have months on end where it was above 100 degrees every single day. And even as hot as it was, if I had a piece of paper outside, no problem. I mean, it wasn't going to catch on fire because it was so hot. But if I got a magnifying glass and really focus the light into a spot on the paper, you actually could start a fire. You could get that piece of paper to light on fire. Now, not all the time, but some of the times. And that had to do with focusing all the energy from the sun in that one spot rather than letting it be diffused. Well, the same is true in your business. If you will take the time to focus on individual projects, on individual tasks, on individual things that need to get done, rather than spending a little bit of time on everything, you'll actually be able to knock things out. And the important concept here is to understand that, look, we all probably have a lot of half-finished projects. I do. I'm assuming you do as well, because most every entrepreneur I know does. We start a bunch of things. We have a bunch of things in various levels of completion. But here's a point I want to make to you. If you have an opt-in funnel that's partly completed but not live, it's not doing you any good. If you have a new product that you started, created, but haven't finished, it's not doing you any good. If you have SOPs that you've gotten like 50% through creating one of your standard operating procedures, that's probably not going to do much good either. The reality is that if you have these half-finished projects around, they're not going to do you any good. And so you have a lot of things that aren't helping you. Now, is it possible that you might ultimately get all those things done, and when you do, boom, you're going to have this big, huge breakthrough? I mean, I guess theoretically, but most business owners never get there because they peter out. They lose momentum. They lose all of the forward action because they're not making progress that they can see. And separate from that, trying to do different things, there's lots of psychological studies. I'm not going to spend a lot of time here talking about it, but if you've heard about context shifting, it is a scientifically proven fact. If you're shifting from one task to another without finishing things, you waste a lot of energy in shifting between the tasks. So instead of doing all of the things, we as entrepreneurs need to spend time focusing on doing one thing at a time and doing it to completion. And if you're working on a big project, okay, so you break that up into small pieces and you complete step 1, step 2, and you kind of complete them in series until the bigger project is done. But you should put all of your effort, all of your focus on that one thing until it is completed. So that's why focus matters. And hopefully this was just a lesson that maybe was kind of the kick in the ass you needed, because hopefully you already know the importance of focus, but I want you to understand you need to be laser focused on the notion that you should focus on one thing at a time. Now, there's some great books about this. You could get The One Thing. All of those concepts out there are good. That'll help you understand the importance of focus. And so that's what this lesson's about. Now, in the next lesson, we're going to talk about why the order matters, why it's not merely a matter of focusing on one thing at a time, but it's also a matter of focusing on the right thing at the right time. So that's what we'll have in the next lesson, and I will see you there.